Is it really possible for you to create the reality that you desire? Stay tuned. Damon here from NLP Gym. Assume the reality that you desire and then live it. Now, if you haven't already, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. So is it really that simple? Can you just assume the reality you want to live and then just live it? Well, yes, because that's what you're doing already. It might not seem that way, but this is what NLP is really all about. NLP brings out three distinctions in how we create our reality, and that is distortion, deletion, and generalization. I'm not going to go too much into each one of these really because I've written about it before, I've done videos about it before, and there's a lot out there that you can look up easily and find out about it. In NLP, Neuro-linguistic programming, it's presupposed that we do not experience reality directly. We experience reality through the filters that creates our map of reality, and it's our map of reality that we respond to. So, for example, our five senses are filters themselves because there might be more to reality, and most likely there is, that we cannot perceive through our five senses. And we know this to be true because there are colors of light on the spectrum that we can discover, but we can't actually see with our eyes. And the same thing with sounds. There are sounds that are out there that we cannot hear. So anyway, I've gone into this before. I'm not going to really dig into this too much. So if we don't if we don't respond to reality directly, and instead we respond to our reality through our map, then it's our map that is our sense of reality. And because of that, because we've created this map, we can change it. And this is what's really extraordinary about NLP and why it's so powerful. You may have heard or read the quote that's supposedly by Einstein about energy. Everything is energy, and if you tune your frequency to the reality that you want to live, you will create that reality. And it says this is not philosophy, this is physics. Well, it's more than likely Einstein never said that, and they probably have a lot of physicists who would disagree with that anyway. Let's call it metaphysics, and whether or not it's true, I think it's a very useful way to look at things. By just tuning your frequency of the reality that you want to experience, your reality becomes that. How do I tune my frequency to the reality that I want? The more I thought about this, the more I realized that it has to do with a lot of our assumptions, and you can break those assumptions into those distinctions that I mentioned earlier: deletion, distortion, generalization. We make assumptions about reality. We make assumptions about the objective reality in which we cannot experience directly. If we assume the reality that we want, as long as we're not deluding ourselves, as long as we're not bringing in things that just are not true, this is what we do anyway, so why not assume the reality that you want to live? If you're not living the reality that you want to live, which would be what we call in NLP the present state, get very clear about the reality that you do want to live, and that's what in NLP we call the desired state. And then when you look at those two, what is the difference between them? What's missing from the present state that you then have in the desired state? And this is where we uncover the resource. What is the resource or resources that are missing? And those resources we assume in NLP already exist inside of you. And if they don't already exist inside of you, it's something you can cultivate. It's also good to look at resources outside of you that you can utilize. You always want to be able to utilize the resources outside of you as best you can, but you're not always in control of those. Those types of resources can come and go. So we want to make sure that we're relying on resources that we have control over, and that is the resources that come from within. If my reality is that I'm not successful, and I say statements like, I can't blank because blank, well then that becomes my reality, and you can fill that in with anything. Like, I can't be successful because I wasn't taught how to be successful, something like that. Well, we can change that, and we can say, I am blank because blank. I am successful because I've had many successes in life. And then go in and look at all the ways in which you've been successful. And they don't have to be these grand successes. They could be something that maybe we look at as being quite minor. I graduated high school. I pay my bills. I have wonderful friends. And maybe you don't have all of these things, but you have some of them. You have had successes. So take inventory of those successes, and that becomes more your reality. If you delete these successes, meaning you just kind of push them out of your reality, then yes, you will feel unsuccessful. So in creating your reality, you're also basing this off of your actual reference experiences. What happens when you assume the reality you desire and then something arises like a setback or a failure that sort of contradicts the reality that you desire, that you want to live in, that you feel like you're assuming and living in? Use that as useful information that comes up and teaches you something that you can then incorporate into your assumed reality. You don't want to shun this, and you don't want to ignore it. Something negative comes up or something contradictory comes up to your assumed reality. You want to integrate this into your assumed reality with the focus of driving still even more into your assumed reality. So let me just bring that back and summarize it. You have your assumed reality, and that could be you're successful, you're living an adventurous life, you're living a fun life, you live a life of deep love and connection. Something pops up that contradicts that. It could be a failure, it could be whatever, setback. You then take that information, accept it, and then integrate that. What can you learn from this that strengthens your assumed reality of success, adventure, deep love, connection, etc.? For example, maybe your assumed reality is of wealth and abundance. You go to a casino in Las Vegas and you lose a bunch of money at the blackjack table. Maybe that's an indication that gambling isn't good for your assumed reality of wealth and abundance. So don't do that. Do something different. Try this on. Assume the reality that you want to live. Take inventory of what you need, the resources you need in order to live that desired reality, and then incorporate that and be accepting of counterexamples, be accepting of the contradictory experiences, and use that to strengthen your assumed reality. Check out our website, nlp-gym.com. Follow us on Facebook for real-time updates on free practice sessions and upcoming workshops. And as I mentioned, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. A little bit later at the end of this video, you'll see a way that you can get your hands on a free online NLP training. Take care.